sometimes, like sometimes on reflection, I say, but where did they get this strength from? Mm-hmm. How if someone had written a script 15 years ago and said, well, you're going to experience this, and this is how you have to deal with it, I would say probably not, because it seems rather intimidating. But when you're in that moment and you have that will to survive, you have that will to live, you have a purpose, then you adapt to the moment and do what you think is right and necessary in order to be successful.
What physical changes have you noticed in yourself following that new rebirth?
Well, again, I've redeveloped to a point that where even people that knew me don't recognize me.
Yes,
because
of weight.
Yeah, because I'm looking healthy again. I mean, there's some who was on the journey with me, and they would have seen the changes because they're coming from this really down to almost a shadow of myself. Mm-hmm. I remember I have friends that would look at me strange and they don't know what to say because I look so sick. Yeah. Even sometimes they look at old photographs and I was like, okay, I see, what they were saying. But now, I have rebloomed.
Yes.
And even simple things like the ability to urinate normally again and that sort of stuff is a blessing. A blessing. Simple things like that, right? Mm-hmm. And although I'm no longer on a strict diet per se, I still maintain that discipline because I just want to continue to do well and inspire and be an example to others.
You're really truly a wonderful example of survival. Someone who has the strength found it within to be able to go through what you've gone through. And what did he go through and what are the possibilities? Dr. Margaret O'Shea will explain to us and more right after this break.
God will not give you a job. God will not call you to do something and then not give you the capacity to have it, to make it happen. He will give you the resources, he'll give you the people. Not only will he equip you with ideas, but he will equip you with favor, as he did Nehemiah.
Turn on the latest episode of Infinite Possibilities, only on CBC TV8, every Sunday at 1:30 p.m., sponsored by Covenant Life Teaching Center.
Welcome to Nature's Discount, the ultimate health food store. At Nature's Discount, we have thousands of quality products at great prices.
Hi guys, Dottie here with Nature's Discount and
We're talking survival, we're talking strength, we're talking overcoming through transplantation as the Barbados Kidney Association continues to engage with us on the importance of knowing our numbers and being tested, making sure that those two little beings that we have inside us are functioning optimally. And sometimes we don't recognize the change, but George did. And in recognition of that change, he took the initiative. But having taken the initiative, just what's possible? What happens at transplantation? Dr. Margaret O'Shea is with me, and Sadie Ann Sister is the chairman of the Barbados Kidney Association, who can also share on this. And so, Dr. O'Shea, when one presents for transplantation, what are the markers you're looking for, and just what are the fears, the pros and the cons, basically, to doing this?
All right, thank you. I mean, amazing story. I love the story of transformation and transplantation, and obviously somebody thought that when they passed, they wanted something good to come of it. Because normally in a situation of deceased donation, as he said, when he got that call, he was on a waiting list. That is waiting for somebody who becomes brain dead or a sudden cardiac death. And they have decided that they want something good to happen out of what is usually a sudden tragedy. And so many lives can be saved. And as we see one here, a testimony. So that's something I want people to think about, what they would want to happen if they pass. When they pass, sorry, because obviously it's inevitable. Mm-hmm. We currently in Barbados do only living donor transplant. So our patients would present through the nephrologist, the kidney specialist, when they reach the point of end-stage renal disease, and they are usually on dialysis. Sometimes if the kidney specialist knows that it's coming to that point, you can actually sometimes get a transplant before you go on dialysis. So we call that preemptive. But at this point, you will need to bring a donor in Barbados. We don't really have the ability to do deceased donation because you need a special law that will declare the patient dead once their brain is dead. Right now in Barbados, you only declare dead if your heart stops beating, type sort of thing, and we don't really have the system in place to do donation at that stage. So we have a bill in Parliament waiting to be debated that would allow the type of transplantation that George got. And we do have a lot of patients who are on dialysis. Our population on dialysis is about 400. Yes, both hemodialysis, I think what he described, and also there's peritoneal where you can dialyze at home, which is what Sadian had. So many of these patients don't have donors, right? Fortunately, Sadian, her brother, came forward and he was pretty much a perfect match. And as George said, he also had a perfect match from a deceased. So, but many of our patients don't have that living donor opportunity. So a deceased donation program would allow for those patients who don't have a donor to get a kidney and a rebirth and have a life free of dialysis, which extends your life expectancy, as he says, 10 years now, and quality of life, being able to go back to work. So much pros for that opportunity, you know. So we're hoping someday to have that, but right now we're focusing on our living donor program. So if we ask people, you know, to speak to their family, friends, you don't have to be a blood relative. Once you have the match blood group, and we also do something called tissue typing to make sure you don't have a rejection, because yes, it's not your kidney, but we try to find as close a match as possible, and it is possible. Sometimes we have husband and wives that are a match, and they do have to go on medication to prevent rejection, but as time goes on, the medication comes down, and it's just a matter of sticking to your tablets. And there's sometimes some infections that can come that we have to treat, and we need to put you on medications to prevent those type of infections as well. But you're free to travel, and your diet pretty much goes back to normal, and it's certainly a more fruitful life at that point.
We can't assume that simply because I'm a sibling that I'm a natural match.
Not necessarily, no. And sometimes too, the dialysis patients may get blood transfusions, and even things like pregnancy. So you can introduce sometimes certain antibodies, other people's, if other people's blood or so comes into your body, then it may make you sort of have rejection to even then to your own family. Because we've had situations, unfortunately, where people come forward for donation, but when we do the match, it's not good because they've had a lot of blood transfusions.
The donor, what happens to the donor? I know I'm one kidney short. So
you don't need more than one kidney to live.
Okay.
He has one.
Yes.
And he's living perfect. So you can live very happily with one kidney, sometimes even half of a kidney. The kidney is an amazing organ, right? And when you take the one out, the other one actually gets a little bigger to maintain you. And we find our donors, they can even live longer than the average person, because we certainly pick donors who are very healthy already, because you can't have certain illnesses to donate. And then because we keep an eye on them, making sure they stick to their diet and they're exercising and so on, they live a long and happy life. There's no need to have, they don't need more than that one kidney.
Sidiane,
Sure.
how are you doing? How many years have you had your transplantation?
November this year will be 8.
8 years.
8 years, yeah.
Wow. Heading for teenage now.
Definitely.
And along the way, because you did your dialysis at home.
Yes.
What were your fears of doing it at home rather than in a clinical setting?
Well, there was less fear actually for doing it at home, because the doctor, Dr. Bell, would have said it's a gentler process than the dialysis that you have at the hospital or in clinic. Dialysis at home is through the peritoneum, a natural organ that you already have in the body. So there's not a very intrusive surgery to have that catheter put in place, and it's a gentler type of dialysis. Hemodialysis at the hospital is quite a bit more intensive. It involves transferring the blood into a machine, which then cleans it and returns it back to the body. So that is more of a shock to the body than introducing a fluid which sits in your abdomen overnight and then kind of draws out the toxins out of your body. So that was my experience of home dialysis. It's a little bit more intrusive to your life in general, because you have then a machine at the side of your bed kind of humming along. If you have an alarm in the middle of the night, you wake up your spouse or your children and you have to call in to see what the issue might be, and there are nurses and technicians on call to assist you during the night as well.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
But were there concerns for infection?
Of course, in any type of dialysis where you have anything entering the body, whether it's hemodialysis or peritoneal dialysis, that site has to be kept clean at all times. It is imperative, because infection is terrible, basically, and back up in hospital, and there are persons who actually don't survive the infection that can occur. So it's absolutely imperative that you keep that site clean.
And Dr. O'Shea, I'm sure these are discussed with the person who has kidney failure.
Yes.
That these are options available,
Yes.
and these are other things that you need to also put in place. Are these discussions broadened to include the family and other caregivers as well?
Yes, we definitely encourage people to bring their family, because it's a whole family approach, and you have to be very responsible too, because you have to do changing bags yourself if you want to do the home peritoneal dialysis. So we definitely want everybody on board. The place has to be kept clean when you're doing the home peritoneal dialysis, and even to have those relatives there, even when we want to discuss transplantation, so they can hear what's going to happen to their relative, and they, listen in to see what's happening. I definitely encourage people to bring family when they come, to make sure it's a smooth process.
In terms of sessions, Sadian, for the 400 and more people in Barbados who have showed up, because a lot of people who refuse to come forward still. George took the initiative and went and said, I've noticed my changes. I need to understand what's going on with me. But people are going through changes and they're not taking the initiative to understand what's going on. What opportunities the Barbados Kidney Association can provide for those people? What encouragement to at least get to know?
So, my mantra, Ready Pearson, get tested.
Yeah.
We encourage persons to do that at least once a year with your annual physical, which I hope that people are getting. Get your kidney function test done. So we encourage that as well, whether with your GP or with Forlam Foundation, forlam.org. Go online, make an appointment, get your blood test done to see what your kidney function is, what stage you are at. That is the best thing that you can start to do to determine whether or not you are good at stage 1, or you have progressed to stage 2 or 3, or even end stage renal failure. Because honestly, kidney disease is pretty much silent. It doesn't show many symptoms until you get to stage 4 or end stage 5. So having that test done every year encourages you and allows you to know where you stand, and depending on the cause of the kidney disease, if you do have it, can be reversed. If it's lifestyle changes like diabetes or hypertension based on food or diet, it can be reversed through exercise, change in diet, as George said, discipline with those things.
And
things
all of this you've learned because you've had to take the journey? Or were you in the medical field before?
Oh, no, I wasn't. I learned because of the process.
They're both very knowledgeable now.
Yes.
They can speak for the doctors.
That is for sure. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So I learned everything. That's the type of person I am. Once I get into a situation, I try to ensure that I know as much as I can about it, so I can, again, know what I need to do for myself, as George said, and advocate for yourself and for others as well. Because knowledge is really power.
It is indeed power.
Yeah.
There's some medications too that can reverse early kidney disease. So
Really?
it's good to
A
know.
lot of us didn't know that.
Yes, there are some medications coming on the market now. Yes.
So discuss with your GP, discuss with your doctor.
Yeah, so there are options. So there's no reason to it's not getting tested just for the sake of it, because there are things you can do.
What can I do to care for so that I don't have any form of problems with my kidneys?
Well, if you do have diabetes or hypertension, make sure they're well controlled. So that's very important. And if you don't have diabetes and hypertension, and there are ways of I mean, obviously there are genetic predispositions to getting these things, but if you don't have that, you know, diet, exercise, those kind of things can stop you getting diabetes and hypertension, which are the number one causes in Barbados for kidney disease. Other things you can't really prevent because they're congenital, like you're born with that problem, or maybe you have stone disease or something. But there are things you can do, lifestyle changes, just eat healthy, exercise, but if you do have diabetes and hypertension, make sure they're well controlled. Yeah.
Pearson. And so, George, how are you now?
I am blessed by the best, put to the test, but not stressed.
He's still lyrical. And so, and that's the attitude you will want to sit to those who are watching today who find themselves in a similar condition with renal failure of some sort, whether it's 1, 2, 4, end stage. Yeah. Because I hate the word end stage. It just sounds so final.
Yeah. So final,
you know? But it is just another part of the process that allows you to have another option available to you, which is transplantation. Transplantation is done in Barbados?
It is done in Barbados, living donor.
Good.
Yes.
Living donor.
Living donor, yeah, you need to bring a donor.
Right, and that's what we're working on, so that if you're brain dead.
No, but we have living donor. We don't want to get deceased donation at some point. We don't have that. Yeah, that's what we're working on. Yeah.
So it's possible. All this is possible. So George, you have a new life. Do you feel in all of this rebirth?
Right.
Do you feel like the little boy in George again, and you just can't wait to push the world down?
Well, you know, I take on the responsibilities within reason. I am more interested in being an advocate, being an example, because I've had the opportunity to speak to audiences around the world. I remember I was doing a little talk in Atlanta to an audience, and in that audience was President Reagan's former physician, who actually is a Barbadian. And so I was able to speak. I see the answer, and you're very knowledgeable, which is important. And I was able to speak about my experience. So after the presentation, I was in the foyer, and he came up to me and he was like, he said, you know why you were able to do so well? Because you know what you're speaking about. I sat there, and as a doctor, I listened to you. And everything that you said, right, shows that you are informed. And having that information was a good guiding catalyst for your survival. So it's important to observe the changes within your body. It's important to have a strong mental capacity, because if you start giving up, you know, that's a good half of the defeat.
You're a real good poster baby. Poster thanks for your rebirth.
Correct. And even in terms of the deceased donor program,
you want to help with that?
I am willing to be an example if you need me. You know?
Wonderful. Big thanks to you all around, Celia. You can go ahead.
Yeah. So,
George,
Mr. George? George? Yes. This big basket here is our gift from the Barbados Kidney Association to you. We want to present this to you for your 10th anniversary.
On your 10th anniversary,
10th anniversary
of
your rebirth. Yes. Yeah, sorry, it's a little heavy.
All right. Thank you very much.
A lot of nutritious
yes, lots of nutritious in there. There is wine, but it's not alcoholic, so don't have to worry about it.
Congratulations.
So we wanted to present this to you for your 10th anniversary from the Barbados Kidney Association. We absolutely are happy to hear of your story.
Inspirational.
It's inspirational. And we want more stories like this to come about. That's why the Barbados Kidney Association is pushing the human tissue transplant bill, as Dr. O'Shea mentioned, so that more persons can get that opportunity.
Indeed so. So find them on socials, the Barbados Kidney Association, and become a member, an associate member. And membership does not mean that you have to be living with kidney disease. You just want to give support in fullest. George, again, congratulations. Happy birthday again to you.
Thank you,
brother. Good. Dr. O'Shea, thank you for the phenomenal work you continue to do on your team at the hospital. And Sidian with the Barbados Kidney Association, being strong, informed, and sharing. I support you in all of this.
Thank you so much, and get tested.
Get tested. Get to know. Get tested. She keeps saying that to me. I was tested. I have been tested. But thank you so very much indeed. Morning Barbados takes a break right here. Great story, isn't it? We're coming back in just a moment.
Welcome to Nature's Discount, the ultimate health food store. At Nature's Discount, we have thousands of quality products at great prices.
Hi guys, Dottie here with Nature's Discount, and today we are talking about solar ray, microbiome, probiotics, and why you should be taking them.
And we have well over 3,000 amazing products to help you get healthy.
For your health tips, tune in to CBC TV 8 every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday for Nature's Discount, sponsored by Get Healthy Incorporated.
98.1 The One, your number one party station. With an audience from 18 to 40, we keep you engaged, energized, and entertained. Choose 98.1 FM, The One.
Hey there, it's Mahalia. I want to share something that might be really helpful. If you're feeling anxious, overwhelmed, depressed, or lonely, and have no one to talk to, call Lifeline Barbados. We all face struggles at times in our lives. You're not alone. There's no need to feel ashamed or embarrassed. It's okay to reach out for support. Lifeline Barbados is completely confidential. No one else will know you called. They're there to offer a caring ear and guidance without judgment. And fellas, I want you to know asking for help is a true sign of strength. It takes real courage to reach out. You can also call Lifeline Barbados if you're worried about loved ones who are struggling and you need advice on how to support them. There's a saying, a problem shared is a problem halved, but not everyone has someone they can confide in. That's why Lifeline Barbados exists, to be there for you or someone you care about during tough times. Save this number. Lifeline Barbados is just a call away. Remember, you can reach out whenever you need to talk.
Books open your heart, your mind, and your soul. They are educational, entertaining, inspiring, and motivating. Are you an author of a recent book you want to share? Then Mornin Barbados would love to feature your book in our The Next Chapter segment. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.bb. That's morning without the G. Come and let us turn those pages together.
Week after week, Scold presents exciting reports and documentaries on the most varied topics of our time. Spectacular developments and innovations, lifestyle and trends of tomorrow, mobility and tourism, health news, highlights from art and culture. Each contribution grabs the viewer with extraordinary images and stories and takes him into fascinating worlds.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
We're 18 minutes to go to 7 o'clock. Have you ever heard of birth baby yoga? Birth baby yoga? Birth baby yoga? What are you talking about, Pearson? Well, there is a function that allows you to do so, but what are the benefits of yoga? What does yoga do to you, to the body, to just your overall health? And so, because it's Wellness Wednesday, we thought we should have Carolina Anderson, who's a yoga teacher and a nutrition coach, to be with us. And she will share with us a little bit about herself. First of all, Carolina, good morning to you.
Good morning, Pearson.
I like your smile. I like your smile. Your energy is infectious, which is good.
Oh.
Talk to me a little bit about, as a yogi, as a yoga instructor, what does it mean for people to do yoga?
Well, in yoga, and the tradition that I studied, is health is wealth, peace of mind is happiness, and yoga shows the way. So yoga is just a science and a tradition of teaching people how to calm their mind, calm their nervous system, be in control of their thinking, and proper exercise to, because the body starts to deteriorate after, you're 35, right? So this is a science of maintaining and even improving your body. So in this tradition that I studied, which is the Hatha tradition, there are 5 principles. So that's proper exercise, proper breathing, proper diet, proper relaxation, positive thinking, and meditation. And with these 5 pillars, you can transform your life. I started doing yoga when I was 18 years old, and that was not that long ago. That was yesterday. And I became a teacher about 11 years ago. I've been doing it for 20 years, and it transformed my life.
Okay. You said, and there are three of the 5 points you used the word proper. What's the definition of proper diet, proper this, and proper? What's that definition of proper?
So imagine you go your entire life and you never learn to breathe. So I study, or I teach in my classes, the first thing is breathing. We don't use our full lung capacity to breathe. So the first thing we do when we sit, we close our eyes and you inhale through your nose, but you're gonna push your belly out. Push your belly out, then you're going to expand your chest cavity, and then your chest is going to rise. That is a proper inhalation. Then on the exhalation, you're going to draw your navel to your spine and push out all of that air. And you can do this with a 3 count. You know, so breathing in, 1, 2, 3, pushing that belly out, and then retracting,
indeed,
and contracting,
and that strengthens the lungs. It strengthens the diaphragm. It builds the core. It does all of it, but it centers you, I suppose.
Exactly.
And because mentally,
yes.
But because we are also breath, it's important we understand the cycle of breathing and what that does for the body as well.
Absolutely.
And that's what I'm hearing you to say.
Absolutely.
But oftentimes we breathe incorrectly. We breathe in the opposite way. But if we look at a baby breathes correctly. But we teach them then, or life invades themselves, and so we begin to adopt the incorrect way. So you're saying through yoga, and the yoga that you've studied, you reteach.
Right.
How to breathe.
I'm happy you said baby. So that's why people always say, you know, because I also teach prenatal and postnatal mommy baby yoga. I teach those things as well, but the name of my company, Birth, Baby, and Yoga, is about bringing us back and remembering children. Because when you watch a child move, they're doing yoga poses all day long. And we forget. So, birth, first you're born, then you're a baby, and you know how to do yoga. And then life comes and it throws things at you.
Yes.
And you have to practice yoga to remember so you can have wellness.
That's interesting. We have to practice it so that we become well. And so that's the whole point of yoga. The ultimate goal is managing wellness in all of the ways, whether it's through what we eat, how we sleep, how we breathe, and the kinds of spaces that we find ourselves in. But one has to be conscious of doing it.
Correct.
I'm getting you.
Correct. It's all about, it's a conscious decision. Every moment. So I learned in meditation, I studied meditation for many years, and I mean, I sat for hours like this. And then finally one day I understood that meditation is not about sitting in silence or finding some quiet space. It's about conscious decisions in every moment of every day.
If we don't move, we do nothing. And there's no opportunity for nothing in life. Life requires us to move, to do, to create, to find, to form, to all of those kinds of things. We were built this way. Is yoga a daily regimen, or is it a once a week, twice a week, 3 days a week kind of regimen?
So I'll tell you a little story. When I did it, when I was 18 years old, when I started, I was a basketball player, a lacrosse player, and I ran cross country, so long distance running. And I started to have pain. Well, I had an ankle injury. The ankle injury turned into a knee injury, turned into a back injury, and I was in a lot of pain. I did yoga every day for 3 months, and I haven't stopped doing it since. My pain stopped. All of a sudden, I had no pain in my body from constant practice. Then I learned, like, you know, it actually really changed my life, my way of thinking, my way of doing things, my way of managing stress, my way of dealing with people. And then when I had children, my guru told me, now your practice begins.
Okay.
And that was the most powerful thing. It was like, oh, I've been doing yoga all these years.
Yes.
And it's like, oh, you're a mother now. This is your practice.
There we go. So let's get to that. The concept of birth, baby, and yoga. How does that work?
Oh, okay, I don't understand.
So, okay. To practice birth, baby, and yoga.
Yes.
One has to have a baby?
No.
Good.
No, so it's a misconception. So people tell me you need to change the name of your company because it implies you need a baby. You don't need a baby.
Okay.
What I am trying to describe is life. The journey of life is that you are born into this world. It's the womb to the world. That's birth. And then we are babies, and we're all interacting in this space, interacting with the environment. And you can look at this from a metaphysics and also physics point of view, like an atom interacting with its environment. And then yoga is the practice and the understanding and the consciousness of not being influenced by your environment to the point that it takes you out of your center. So, what do you need to eat to be well? What do you need? It's all a personal journey, and that's why I combine nutrition with it. So I look at the individual's needs. I'm not going to give you a one size fits all, because we're all different. We all like different things. It's not sustainable to follow something that is rigid. You have to find something that fits you and your path. So that is what yoga is. Yoga is the path. What is your path? Who are you? What do you need? What do you require?
And oftentimes we tend to think that yoga is just people like yourself, thin and fit and those kinds of things, but all of us have a little bit of girth. And so we tend to think yoga is not for me. What do you say to that?
There are some beautiful black women on Instagram who are thick and like they got the body, yaddy, 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 yaddy. And they are not only pole dancing, and they are doing splits, and they're getting in positions that I couldn't. Like, I've been doing yoga for 20 years, and I still can't have the flexibility and the mobility for that, because we all are different. So, for example, our hips will move differently because of the way that the shape is. So you might not be able, you'll be doing yoga and not be able to get into a full split or a wide leg split because of the way your hips are. So really, when people say, well, I'm not that flexible, and I say, hey, it's about being present. Can you be present? And most people can't be present. Presence is what it requires. It doesn't require flexibility yet. Flexibility of the mind. So it's not about touching your toes. It's about opening your heart and opening your mind to possibility.
Yeah. And once you have possibility, then you have something to attain. You have something to reach for, and you'll find your body will respond, because all we want to do is to achieve, and that's how we're built. We'll take a break. When we come back, you promise what we're doing there on the screen, that you'll do a little bit more of that and more, and give us some easy, simple things we can do to keep ourselves active every single day, but be in the presence. Everybody, we're back in a moment.
There is a saying, you can find a Bajan anywhere. Are you a Bajan living abroad? Or do you know of one who has migrated to another country? Well, we at Mornin Barbados would love to have you or them on our Bajan Affair segment. Share your amazing stories, experiences, and how you have adapted to a new culture. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.vb. And together we will travel the world.
Some ask, what makes Barbados so special? We at Mornin Barbados say it's you, our exceptional youth. You are talented, resilient, and inspirational. You are the epitome of the Barbadian spirit, testing the boundaries of your creativity. If you are an entrepreneur, artist, baker, designer, author, or have done anything you think should be highlighted, email us at morninbarbados@cbc.bb. Let us show the world our exceptional Bajan youth.
Hi, good day. I'm Auntie Diane to some of the children in my life, but I'm also Dr. Diane Brathwaite from the Barbados Diabetes Foundation. So it has been shown that consumption of sugar in excessive amounts contributes to diabetes, hypertension, cardiovascular disease, acne, concentration problems, putting on excess weight, and I could go on and on. Do you know?
Okay, welcome. So this is going to be a bedtime practice, just something to center yourself and prepare for rest. As I said earlier, proper relaxation. So we're going to close our eyes, breathe in through your nose. As I said earlier, we're going to push the belly out first. Chest expands, the shoulders lift. Count to 3 and exhale through the mouth. Draw the navel to the spine, up on your sitting bones. Breathe in through the nose, expand the belly, chest widens and shoulders lift. Exhale, draw the navel to the spine. We can use some visualization, a warm light in your chest. Imagine that's your soul, your presence, your energy. Warm, feel that. Or you can just imagine something that makes you comfortable, like the face of your pet. Just anything that makes you calm and relax. We're going to bring our hands up and bring one hand to your left hand to your right knee, and we're going to stretch here, right hand over the body, draw the navel to the spine, maintaining the core, and twisting from the shoulder, twisting from the minor pectorals. And up again. And now we're going to switch. Take the right hand over to the left knee. Twist from the hip. And exhale. Now we're going to left hand on the right knee. Right hand back. Twist from the hips. Turn and look over your shoulder. And we're always sitting up, maintaining the diaphragm, maintaining the sitting bones, looking over the shoulder. Exhale, and to the next side. And release. When you're going into a pose, you want to inhale. When you're releasing the pose, you want to exhale. So from here, we're going to extend one foot here. You're going to want Barbie feet. Okay, I call it Barbie feet. Your toes are pointing towards your face. Put your hands up. And we're gonna bend from the waist. Bend from the waist. So it doesn't matter how far you go. It's about bending from the waist, bringing your chest to your chin. Not your chin, your shin. Sorry. And here we go. Relax the face. Remember, scan the body for any sense of tension. You should be like nice and jelly in your body. Inhale to come up. We're gonna switch sides. Again, put your hands up. Draw the navel to the spine here. Your chest is going to your shin. Your forehead is going to your shin. Imagine you can reach all the way down, all the way down. Your toes are pointing towards your face, feet in Barbie feet, and engaged. And here, we can sit here, and in Baddha Konasana, try to bring your knees to the ground. Breathe in through your nose, and exhale. And this is just an example of what you can do before you go to bed. Remember to breathe mindfully. Have an engaged core. Imagine your navel being pulled to your spine. And your chest is up. Expanding the minor pectoral muscles, opening the chest cavity. So, thank you. And for more, please follow me at Birth, Baby, and Yoga. I can teach you some more bedtime routines to get you in a calm, relaxing state to go for proper relaxation and rest.
Week after week, Scold presents exciting reports and documentaries on the most varied topics of our time. Spectacular developments and innovations, lifestyle and trends of tomorrow, mobility and tourism, health news, highlights from art and culture. Each contribution grabs the viewer with extraordinary images and stories and takes him into fascinating worlds which he experiences here exclusively and up close. We're there when companies and specialists develop super satellites for a global network in space and can look behind the scenes. Scold is a window to everything that is there or is yet to come.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Let's take a look at the news now. Barbados is moving to shore up its air traffic control system after last weekend's staff disruption contributed to a shutdown of the island's airspace. Minister of Tourism and International Transport Ian Gooding-Edgell says government is launching a recruitment drive to tackle the shortage of air traffic controllers starting this financial year. Once that's complete, the Grantley Adams International Airport will have all the air traffic controllers that it needs. Minister Gooding-Edgell spoke about the recruitment plans during the discussion of the estimates of revenue and expenditure in Parliament. Anesta Henry
Currently,
reports.
just about 43 air traffic controllers are responsible for managing the safe and efficient movement of aircraft in Barbados's airspace. But that is not enough. And it's one of the factors behind the industrial action that forced a temporary closure of the airspace last Saturday. The shutdown left hundreds of passengers stranded and forced several international flights to turn back to their departure points. The Minister of Tourism and International Transport has outlined the government's plan to close the gap.
We intend to have 2 batches of air traffic controllers trained in Barbados The training takes approximately, I think it's about 18 months or so, I've been advised, and we're also going to have a third batch. So the strategy behind us training up and having more air traffic controllers is to address what we have as a shortage at airport.
The training for the first batch, who've already been identified, will begin on April 7th. The second round of training will commence in December. Under the recruitment push, government will create 26 additional posts for air traffic controllers. Government is also proposing to send 25 trainees overseas to receive a specialized instruction.
That is already according to the estimate. So in effect, what we will be doing is that we will, after we've completed the training, and based on the success, because that's also an issue, the success rate of training, we should be in a position, one, to fill the remaining vacancies. But at the same time, we have a policy for replacement of staff, either those who are poached and go to work elsewhere, those who retire, or those who resign from the organization.
The minister also detailed the impact of last weekend's airspace closure on operations at the Grantley Adams International Airport.
We would have had anywhere between 55 and 60 aircraft about to land in Barbados. We had some aircraft that turned back, others that could have continued en route to Barbados, but because of uncertainty, they didn't continue and they returned. And we also had some flight cancellations.
Despite the current staffing shortage, Minister Gooden Edgell stressed that Barbados remains fully compliant with the International Civil Aviation Organization's regulations. Onesta Henry, CBC News.
And millions of dollars will be invested in the state-of-the-art equipment at the airport to strengthen safety and boost airspace capacity. Among the upgrades is a menopulse secondary surveillance radar. Grantley Adams International Airport's Chief Executive Officer Hadley Bourne says the system will help air traffic controllers ensure the safe, orderly and efficient flow of aircraft in and out of the island.
So basically, MSSR provides interrelation between various aircraft and their system and provides the controller with a target, as we would see if you watch a lot of movies on the screen, and that's where they would undertake their various control procedures, vectoring, etc. Similarly, as you get closer into the island, the instrument landing system, and if you could compare it to flying a kite within a funnel, the number of electronic beams both laterally and longitudinally, 3% from the surface to the touchdown zone, and basically around 10 to 15 miles, pilots would basically, as you would say, latch on to this, and it's almost, to put it in Barbadian parlance, as hauling in a kite.
A team from Ethiopian Airlines will visit this island this year to continue research into the possibility of starting service to the island. Word of this from Minister of Tourism Ian Gooding Edgell, who said local tourism officials previously visited Ethiopia to discuss that matter. With the presentation of the budget just days away, the Barbados Employers Confederation is urging government to take decisive action on several key economic and labour issues. Speaking at a press conference, Executive Director Sheena Mears-Granville outlined priorities the organisation believes should be addressed as Barbados charts its economic path forward. Among them is the modernisation of labour legislation to reflect the realities of today's workplace.
We believe that the current body of legislation, much of it was designed for a different economic era, requires comprehensive modernization. And this is not our first or second call. Some of you might remember that last May, we even had a panel discussion talking about the need for a new labor code. So we therefore continue to call for the development of an integrated labor code that consolidates existing legislation, eliminates the redundancies and inconsistencies, and simplifies compliance requirements.
The Confederation also raised concerns about the minimum wage, stressing that any policy must be carefully balanced and guided by consultation.
Minimum wage policy is very important as it must balance social objectives with economic realities so that unintended consequences don't happen. This is particularly important when we consider
the makeup of the Barbadian economy. The majority of our businesses are small and micro enterprises, estimated at about 60% of the economy. We are not an economy built on big business. The reality of our economy must be factored into the conversation.
Climate and pension policy was also another issue raised. The BEC said there needs to be long-term planning to ensure financial security for workers.
We don't want a system that can be easily abused, but we do believe it's time for consultation and dialogue to look at a new framework that allows for persons to gradually transition. We have an aging population, and therefore our policies around retirement and pension must allow for more flexibility, and we also need to look at how we can incentivize proper planning for retirement.
Free eye screening were offered at the IQ Lifestyle Opticians in the Lime Grove Lifestyle Center yesterday as part of activities for World Glaucoma Week. And as we hear from Deanza Roberts now, there was an overwhelming response.
Several residents took advantage of free eye screenings at Lime Grove as part of efforts to raise awareness about glaucoma, a leading cause of blindness that often develops without warning signs. President of the Barbados Optometry Association and owner of IQ Stylist Opticians, Alicia Hartman, says the turnout exceeded expectations.
It's unexpected because we decided to open our doors rather than having appointments so that people can walk in freely, because the problem is that glaucoma has no symptoms, and what we're really trying to do is reach out to the general public to basically create awareness, but not just awareness, accessibility. Because, you know, free screening is not something that's done very often, so having the store being accessible to everybody, that was the intention today. So this is why we have so many people queuing up.
Ms. Hartman says statistics show the disease is a growing concern locally.
1 in 11 people over the age of 50 has glaucoma in Barbados, and actually that number goes up to 1 in 6 for over 70. So really, really important here to have routine eye exams.
Patricia Smith and Safra Sak were among those who turned up for the free screening.
The thing is this, that I want my eyes to be checked to make sure that I do not have glaucoma, because you know that glaucoma is one of the leading causes of blindness in the world. So if it can be prevented or treated at this stage, I would like to have my eyes checked.
I think it's a good idea to come get eye check. It's free, it's good for the locals and also the senior citizen to help out in the community.
And Monica Cumberbatch brought along someone she felt should get their eyes checked.
My employee, Kenrick Marshall, the driver of the glass mountain boat, so he can get his eyes tested. I know that in Barbados, as was said, many people are suffering from glaucoma and don't know. So when they saw this initiative advertised, I told him that he has to go because the sea affects your eyes, the glare from the sea. And he was complaining of some darkness, so I thought now is the opportune moment to come and get it checked.
There will be additional screenings later this week as the Barbados Optometry Association collaborates with the Ministry of Health and other partners. Deanza Roberts, CBC News.
Government has injected $4.7 million into the brand new glass floor at Wilde Gymnasium. The spectacle is set to enhance local sports in a major way, catering to several disciplines. A report now from Anmar Goodrich-Boyce.
It is a state-of-the-art floor design which will transform the Wilde Gym into a multi-sport facility, being able to host netball, basketball, road tennis, futsal and volleyball as part of the digital courts layouts. This was revealed by Minister of Sports Charles Griffith, who said it was all part of government's plans to continue improving the standard of sports in Barbados with providing more modern facilities for athletes.
To have a facility like this, it means that, cost recovery is in place. And one of the things that I'm hoping for is that we can now see tournaments being held here in basketball, volleyball, netball, at a level that is expected from the international arena. So today, again, like I said, this is one of the steps that government is looking, one of the steps that we're taking in terms of the infrastructure, sports infrastructure on the island. We can't do everything one time, but I would say between the last financial year and now, we have spent close to $50 million in terms of infrastructural development on island. And we are continuing to build out the infrastructure in terms of having quality facilities for our athletes, because then if you have quality, you expect quality play in terms of how they can rise.
The minister also said the new floor, which has a lifespan of at least 25 years, will help the island to move forward its sports tourism product towards the middle and the end of the year.
Too often, April to October is our down period, and we need to have the national federations functioning at a level that we can have some tournaments here on island to bring tourists to the island. Not only that, our indigenous sports, road tennis. I mean, how do we monetize road tennis? How do we make money as well from cricket that has been a staple on island for X amount of years? So one of the things that government is looking to do now is to see how we can, one, monetize sports on island, and two, push as hard as possible the tourism, the sports tourism factor.
The project is set to be completed by the end of the month by German sports company ASB Multisport and Total Tracking and Equipment Company. And more Goodrich Boys, CBC Sport.
That's our news on TV8 until now. We'll have more news coming up at noon on TV8. Morning Barbados is back in a moment.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Week after week, Scold presents exciting reports and documentaries on the most varied topics of our time. Spectacular developments and innovations, lifestyle and trends of tomorrow, mobility and tourism, health news, highlights from art and culture. Each contribution grabs the viewer with extraordinary images and stories and takes him into fascinating worlds which he experiences here exclusively and up close. We're there when companies and specialists develop super satellites for a global network in space and can look behind the scenes. Scold is a window to everything that is there or is yet to come. Fly with us through time to better understand today and tomorrow. You've always wanted that. Scold.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
As you know, this week is Taster Week at the University of the West Indies. There's a lot happening today, this morning, as a matter of fact, on campus. Remember, at 10 o'clock, the book launch of the book of Jackie Opel in the 3Ws Pavilion, and across at 10 o'clock as well on the UE Guild Lawns. There's that meeting of social sciences and the Faculty of Culture, Performing and Creative Arts. They're encouraging all of you to come. The children are also encouraged to come too. But let's go into now the Department of Cultural Studies, and we're met by the head, Dr. Yannick Hume. Good morning to you, Dr. Hume.
Morning, good morning. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Cultural Studies, what is that about?
Yes, so cultural studies is an interdisciplinary field of study that really is engaged in the understanding the processes through which identities are constructed, understanding the process through which they're represented, recognizing that we are in societies that are structured by power, structured by history, and how does that play the material conditions of which people live and make meaning in their lives. So it's interdisciplinary in that it's pulling from various fields of study. A lot of it is anchored in history, but it comes from also a Marxist background, so the idea of class is also very important to it. So sometimes there's a confusion that cultural studies is exclusively the study of arts. And while the arts are part of culture, culture expands beyond the arts as well. So we look at culture as the everyday, as those practices from the farmers, and it's no accident that words like horticulture, agriculture have those as its suffix, because in fact it is the processes through which people make meaning in their lives.
And so a lot of times people are wondering, how do I take this knowledge and apply it to everyday life? So in what ways would cultural studies enhance my everyday living as a practitioner in whatever?
Yeah, thank you so much for that question, because one of the things that the field really emphasizes is recognizing, to quote Nigerian author Chimamanda Adichie, understanding that there isn't a singular narrative or single story. So how we come to know and the kinds of knowledge that we produce and the modes through which we disseminate or transmit this knowledge is multifaceted, as is the human condition. So the field of study really encourages students to develop critical thinking skills, learning how to problem solve, think outside of the box, be innovative and curious in trying to come to comprehend complex situations. And that's transferable and translatable across many fields. So whether you choose a career within the foreign services, having a grounding in a Caribbean cultural studies means that you understand this region, not only the territory you're born in, but understanding the region as a complex whole, as a circum-Caribbean basin that shares in a similar history, that has cultural factors that intersect, regardless of the linguistic backgrounds, the colonial background, that informs how we begin to understand culture. From there, being able to understand processes like cultural change. And the Caribbean provides a really fascinating laboratory for engaging those questions because we come from so many different backgrounds, so many different influences, from the enslaved past, different parts of Africa, recognizing the influence of Europe, the influence of indentureship from Asia, all of these creating this melange we call the Caribbean. So from there, being able to really think about not only critical thinking, beginning to find solutions for complex problems, but also recognizing that it takes collaboration and it takes looking to different fields to come to solving a problem.
Collaboration can end with groupthink.
Yes.
Which in itself can be a bit of a danger because sometimes you still want to have your own individual mind. And so for those who are contemplating cultural studies, it's not a history lesson, even though it's a lot of history that one engages with. And I'm asking that because I want you to break down how practical, when one enters one of these courses in cultural studies, would I be required to be?
Well, it depends. Our faculty, where we exist in the Faculty of Culture, Creative and Performing Arts, is a faculty that really emphasizes the merger or fusion of theory and practice. We recognize that practice, whether it's creative practice, for example, is a way that you could push forward research and find new ways. We recognize that knowledge is held in the body. Knowledge is held in not only books, but it's translated in different ways. So how do we begin to bring these two things together? We really are moving away from the Descartesian split of mind and body and really seeing students as integrated wholes as well as the knowledge that we're hoping to create. So practically, it means that a course is going to ask you to read. It's going to ask you to really investigate and engage with the subject matter at hand. And it's going to ask you to look comparatively. I think a lot of our studies, especially because we're engaged with understanding this region and how this region functions within a broader globe, we are inherently comparativist. So we're looking and seeing what's happening in Haiti and how do we understand that to make sense of the cultural processes that have happened in places like Brazil, in Barbados, in Trinidad and Tobago, and recognizing those interconnections, right? And beginning to plot them, literally sometimes, tracing the contours of our connectivity and beginning to see and drill down on whatever the given subject is. And encouraging students to develop oratory skills so they could share this work, recognizing that not all work is going to live as text. It may live as a podcast. It may live in a TikTok. But do you have the cultural contact that actually gives those medium breadth and depth?
And so, a study of cultural studies is for everyone.
It's for everyone.
Whether it be the teacher, the broadcaster, the person in the foreign services.
Yes.
In whatever sphere of endeavor you are, cultural studies is at the center of it.
It's at the center.
What I also like from listening to you just a moment ago is that the courses are relevant to today. They're not stuck in the 18th century and that's all, and that's all we study.
Yeah.
But you respond to today's realities so that we as people of the Caribbean at the University, through the University of the West Indies, are being able to tackle those situations as they occur. You referenced Haiti.
Yes.
And I just like the fact that you did that, because there's so many things about the Haitian story that we as a people from the Anglo side of the Caribbean, we don't quite understand.
Yeah.
But cultural studies helps us to do that.
Indeed, indeed. It's being able to recognize what are those moments of intersection and connections, looking not just at the political situation, but recognizing how that political situation is shaped by history and how that history is also shaped by the cultural facets that have made up the Haitian people, for example, and the practices that have informed their nation.
Some of those practices are religious.
Some of their
others
practices
are through other expressions.
Exactly.
But cultural studies roots us in that understanding.
Exactly.
And it's that understanding and appreciation for that almost opens doors for exchange.
Exactly.
And helps us smooth when difficulties occur.
Yes, yes.
And that's why it's in there. Now, when we come to the science fair today, we have an opportunity, no doubt, to discuss further the cultural studies. For those who are contemplating, because now they have a greater understanding of what cultural studies is about, thanks to you, what are the entry points? How do we begin our application to the university?
So we're in the application period right now, and we are accepting applicants for their undergraduate studies. So we offer a BA or a Bachelor's of Arts in Caribbean Cultural Studies. And then we have with that BA about six minors of which, so you could come in and do a cultural studies major, but minor in gender studies, political science, psychology, sociology, international relations. It allows you to pair those things, because you might have an interest. So we're like, no, let's see how these things go together. And that's why I think it's such a genius pairing to have us with the Faculty of Social Science, because those fields also are part of and marry quite well within cultural studies. We also offer a minor in cultural studies if you don't want to do the major in Caribbean cultural studies. We have our degrees in the postgraduate graduate school for research, and that would include a MA, an MPhil, Master of Philosophy, and a PhD. And we also have a practice-based degree. So those who come in with years of creative practice and now want to study it further. So it's like the finessing of that craft, pairing it with the theory, and being able to do a practice-based option as well. So we offer postgraduate and undergraduate degrees, and it depends on where. You could go to our website and begin to see that information, both on our faculty website, cultural studies tab, and you could also, for those interested in graduate studies, go to the School for Graduate Studies and Research and find information on our page there as well.
I keep imagining the richness of the conversation and the exchanges that occur in cultural studies. Everyone has a point of view, and they come from different backgrounds, varied backgrounds, but it brings to the melting pot of one thought.
It does.
And I think that is so rich for everyone who's curious about life and life lived, and how we can begin to influence life cultural studies. The understanding of the cultural space helps in that discussion. A lot of us tend to go to the airwaves and we talk, and we don't have the basis from which we share that point of view. Cultural studies helps you to form that opinion, so it's more informed and it is more meaningful, and you see the results that you're searching for, because now you can impact, whether as a foreign service officer, whether you're into the cultural space, when you write your calypsos and you write your prose as well, what is it that you're saying based on what? Cultural studies helps you with that. When we, in the space of broadcast as well,
yes,
we
broadcasting, journalism, we have several of our students who've gone through different tracks. Some are writers, some are cultural consultants, some are they do tourism strategies. I mean, it really, because heritage studies, some do tours. So it really allows you to kind of use that base liberal arts education to then find, because we're in a generation where you have to curate the kind of career that you want. It may not exist exactly as you study it, but having the tools to recognize that you could plait these things together and create a more comprehensive and fulfilling kind of future.
The scope is so vast. So this morning at 10 o'clock, you can go over to the UWI across on the Gill Lawns, and that's on the opposite side for the 3 W's. Across on the other side, that's where the other activity is happening. You'll be exposed to other cultural arts as well, to fashion and African arts. And so there's a lot happening on campus today, but there is a space for you, ladies and gentlemen, to be studying at the KFIL campus in the Cultural Studies Department. And so I want to encourage you to go to know more about how you fit and where you fit within the whole scope of the Caribbean's drive, because the UWI is about us, for us, and for others as well. But it shapes your thinking, it informs your thought process, it aids you in being able to see the world clearer. And I think that's what everybody wants to be able to do. Dr. Hume, thank you so much for joining us this morning. You're welcome. You're very welcome. Quite enjoyed talking to you today.
Wonderful.
Morning Barbados breaks here. We're coming back in just a moment.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Week after week, Scold presents exciting reports and documentaries on the most varied topics of our time. Spectacular developments and innovations, lifestyle and trends of tomorrow, mobility and tourism, health news, highlights from art and culture. Each contribution grabs the viewer with extraordinary images and stories and takes him into fascinating worlds which he experiences here exclusively and up close. We're there when companies and specialists develop super satellites for a global network in space and can look behind the scenes. Scold is a window to everything that is there or is yet to come. Fly with us through time to better understand today and tomorrow. You've always wanted that. Scold, a look into the future.
Our world today is not the world God wants it to be. One of the reasons, which will surprise many, is that our planet, its governments, and its peoples are all living under the weight of Satan's rule. From the beginning of mankind's existence to today, human history is the written record of what it means to live under the rule of the devil. Yet that rule is coming to an end, and what a difference that will make.
Every Sunday at 9 a.m. on CBC TV 8, tune in for Tomorrow's World, sponsored by the Living Church of God.
Some ask, what makes Barbados so special? We at Mornin Barbados say it's you, our exceptional youth. You are talented, resilient, and inspirational. You are the epitome of the Barbadian spirit, testing the boundaries of your creativity. If you are an entrepreneur, artist, baker,
morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
28 to 8 o'clock now, and we're staying at the University of the West Indies, actually within the Faculty of Social Sciences. And social sciences covers so many areas of study indeed, one of which is the Institute for Gender and Development Studies and the Center for Biosecurity as well. And so we're joined this morning by the head of the Institute for Gender and Development Studies in Dr. Tonya Haynes, and then you know Dr. Kurt Douglas from the Center for Biosecurity. Both of you, good morning.
Good morning, Kirsten.
What happens in the Institute for Gender Studies?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. The Institute for Gender and Development Studies is a very dynamic institute within the wider UWI system, And our work services the entire campus and indeed our entire region. We have a focus on teaching and learning, research and publication, outreach and service. And all of these things are integrated in our work. I can give you some examples from our programming of how we integrate teaching, research and outreach. So we have a project that we have been doing since 2019 in the boys and girls government industrial schools. It's called the Blooming Youth Project, and we pair University of the West Indies students as mentors with residents of the government industrial schools, and we also, for those residents, offer programming in climate smart agriculture and preparing them for jobs in green technologies. And so that project that we are extremely proud of, and most recently supported by the Maria Holder Memorial Trust, really is a transformational one, transformation for the students of the University of the West Indies, but also transformation for the residents at the government industrial schools, both the boys and girls, and also ensuring that they get that training in some of the more cutting edge areas of our economy. And so that we're blending the learning of our UWI students, we're blending the service and the outreach of that, and then it's also undergirded by our own research in different areas, including juvenile justice. And that's just one of our programs.
And you've opened up my curiosity about this so much so that I don't have time enough to delve even further. But gender and development, those two words are there in your title for a reason.
Absolutely.
What concerns the Caribbean and what concerns the University of the West Indies that you thought you needed to have the unit that focuses on that?
Yeah, so the Institute for Gender and Development Studies has been existent since 1993, and specifically at the Cayfield campus, we are the Nita Barrow unit. And gender is so central to how our societies, our economies, our labor markets are organized that gender emerges, particularly in its inequalities and injustices, emerges as a cross-cutting issue across everything that you can think about that concerns us in the region. So that's whether you're thinking about climate, or you're thinking about crime, or you're thinking about economic justice issues, the bread and butter issues, at their root are all gender issues. And for example, in the area of climate, we are working with Universities Caribbean, we're working with a grassroots organization in Jamaica called Girls Care, and us at the Nita Barrow unit to establish a research hub on climate and care. So to think about care work, particularly unpaid care work, and the climate shocks and climate resilience, and understand those intersections through a range of participatory action research projects at the local level across the region. So we're thinking everywhere from Cuba to Suriname that our work would reach. So your question about why gender and development, the simple answer is that because of the way that our economies and societies are structured, gender has to be part of every conversation.
Because of the way our societies are structured and because of the general conversation, we hear a lot about women, concern for women's development and the like, and studying to make sure that we empower women. We don't hear the same energy given to men development. Let's talk a little bit about that and what are the avenues that you're exploring so that we also study what's happening to our men and the boy child.
Oh, absolutely. So you raise a really important point. So across our teaching, our research and outreach, so the first example that I gave you, I mentioned that we go into the government industrial school and the programming is for the boys and the girls, right? Because part of that, ensuring the justice for young people, means that you want to reach young people across gender. Specifically, if in terms of our teaching, we've been teaching courses on men and masculinity since the Institute for Gender and Development Studies started back in 1993. Our research students are also embarking on research projects that examine men's lives specifically. So we do have students one in particular, who's looking at men and different life transitions and how men navigate various transitions across the life course, including economic transitions, but also aspects of their more personal and intimate lives as well. So all of that research and focus is also taking place and is part of what comes under the umbrella of gender and development.
So who should come study? You're a researcher? Because I keep hearing research. Is it a researcher? Who else are you looking for to show up and take your courses?
Okay, so we offer an undergraduate minor, and we also offer all the way up to PhDs. So absolutely, we are also going to be part of the fair that's happening today, so that all the young people who are in secondary school and considering the University of the West Indies Cayfield campus are aware that any one of them can take a gender studies course. So our undergraduate courses are open to all students, whether you are in science and technology or social sciences or humanities. They're open to everybody. There are no prerequisites to our courses. We just welcome students into our classroom, and we like to say that when you're doing gender studies, like, life is your laboratory. All of the various social, economic, and other kinds of issues are part of what you are studying in gender studies. So our work is really for everybody.
And because life is our classroom, life brings all sorts of complications as well. So biosecurity, let's talk about this, Dr. Kirk Douglas, dovetailing to you now. What happens in the Center for Biosecurity?
Okay, so first I would thank you very much for having us this morning. I would frame it in terms of an act that we commonly do every single day, where we take off our shoe at the door. We do it instinctively, we do it by reflex, we don't give too much thought to it. But the reality is that is actually biosecurity. It is risk management. What you're doing is actually protecting the space of your home from taking what you don't want from externally from the home environment into the home environment. And by extension, you change the ecosystem from a home to a farm, to a school, to a hospital, to the country, to the world. And so that is how we frame biosecurity. It's all about safeguarding lives and livelihoods. That is the essence of biosecurity. And so the Center for Biosecurity was actually designed to respond to a need within the Caribbean. And this was prior to the COVID-19 pandemic. And I became the director in the midst of the pandemic, so it was a baptism of fire, which I thoroughly enjoyed. But no, this is, and as you quite rightly said, this is life, right? These are the challenges that you face, and it is about building that inherent resilience. And consistent with the ethos of the UWI, the UWI has been traditionally responding to the needs of the Caribbean, and the center is an exemplar of that. And what we are focusing on at the center is not only the research, but the practicality and the pragmatism in terms of what can I do to change this problem. It's all well and good to research the problem. You can discuss it to death, but at the end of the day, you're still left with the problem. What are you doing to move the needle? What are you doing to make change and have impact? And that is where the innovation comes into play within the Center for Biosecurity Studies. We have a number of innovations which will be on show. So I encourage all of those who are able to come out today to come and see, witness our innovations, because we are designing solutions for our problems. The scale of the Caribbean is so small that the global north will not design things just for us. It isn't worth it for them, but for us, it is everything. So it is incumbent upon us to actually design these solutions. So you will see that, and we have also our programs. We have Taught Masters, MSc program, and in that program, we have built in, as part of the practicality of it, internships. So students don't want just a piece of paper. They want to know, I have hope after I've attained this degree, there are pathways that I can take so that I can secure employment. And so part of that, we will have internships with UN organizations and other international organizations, so that they will be actually tasked with solving a problem within an organization or in partnership with the organization. And this builds confidence with the student. It also gives them something that they can also add to their resume. And so they will also have a foot in the door, because they would have shown their skill set to the particular organization. They can get references or be even employed at that particular organization. And this is consistent with the Faculty of Social Science and their practicality For instance, our sister center, the Sridhar Ramphal Center, they have a similar internship program, a study tour to Geneva every year, and we will also partner that, and we will be taking our MSc students on an annual Geneva tour where they can see biosecurity in practice, because biosecurity is best explained when it's visual, when you can see it working out. And what underpins our program is systems thinking. Oftentimes what we find is that problems are usually tackled in a very linear way. But what we are showing and teaching and training those who come through our program is how to think in systems. So you have to kind of zoom out to see the larger picture and see when that action occurs, what is really behind the impact. And so I'll give you an example quickly. Waste, for instance. We see waste being a problem for several decades within smaller and developing states. But that is also a feature of our economic system. It is a feature of our trade. There was a study done, for instance, in St. Lucia, which showed that one tourist generates 2 to 3 times more waste than the actual resident. And if you think of Barbados as a case study, we just had last year, which is also a very good accomplishment, 2.5 million visitors to the island. Now, our population is only at best 280 or less. And so that's almost 10 times our population that we had on the island. And if you think that they generate 2 to 3 times more waste, you can see that it's a really it's a cyclic problem. And in order to tackle it, you actually have to go to the root of it, and you have to analyze it in that way, because if you only treat the system, then it's going to be problematic.
So it's not just for the scientists alone. There are people who are planners who need to understand the Center for Biosecurity and how everything intersects.
Correct.
So for those who are now listening to you and they're thinking, boy, this sounds like bare sport. I like it, not just to travel to Geneva alone, but it's a practical approach to science. But are you just looking for science students?
No, and that's why we are domiciled in the Faculty of Social Sciences, because a lot of the vulnerabilities that we face in small and developing states are trade and tourism. They are also drivers of our economy, but they also open us up, because we are open economies. We saw this during COVID. Tourists came in. Obviously, COVID came in with it. And not only COVID, but several other things. And this happens every year. It's just that COVID, it was a focal point. But we are living with these things, but we have to learn how to manage and build inherent resilience. So we have to look at system design. We have to go in all different systems. It's not only in health. It's not only in public health. You're also looking in agriculture. You're looking in environment. You're looking in climate. So it is very multidisciplinary, very multidisciplinary.
Get to know more this morning from 10 o'clock till 4 this afternoon on the compound of the University of the West Indies and the Students' Guild. That's where the lawn is, and you go there and you discover your future career. And at the center of all of this is people. It's still just people. So understanding the gender divide, understanding the similarities, understanding what it is as people we can do to advance our own civilization in the Caribbean and have a greater appreciation broadly of the world and how it impacts on us. These courses of study in the Center for Biosecurity and also in the Institute of Gender and Development will help you on that road. You will find yourself employed in very meaningful discussion and study and activity, conversation, experiences. You build and become a more rounded person with a greater understanding and appreciation for life. And that's what we want to explore with you today. Folks, when you go to the University of the West Indies for the Science Fair, hosted by the Faculty of Social Sciences and the Faculty of Culture, Creative and Performing Arts on the ground this morning from 10 o'clock. School children and students, you're encouraged also to participate today because there's something just for you. Thank you both, Dr. Tanya and Dr. Kirk, for joining us this morning.
Thank you very
much. You're very welcome. Morning Barbados takes a break here. We're coming back with more in a moment.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Some ask, what makes Barbados so special? We at Mornin Barbados say it's you, our exceptional youth. You are talented, resilient, and inspirational. You are the epitome of the Barbadian spirit, testing the boundaries of your creativity. If you are an entrepreneur, artist, baker, designer, author, or have done anything you think should be highlighted, email us at morninbarbados@cbc.bb. Let us show the world our exceptional Bajan youth.
From the beautiful shores of the gem of the Caribbean, Barbados, home of the amazing Harrison's Cave, the tantalizing Oystins Bay Garden, our historic garrison, the indigenous road tennis, and the friendliest people in the world. We are 94.7 FM, the ultimate Bajan experience.
There is a saying, you can find a Bajan anywhere. Are you a Bajan living abroad? Or do you know of one who has migrated to another country? Well, we at Mornin Barbados would love to have you or them on our Bajan Affair segment. Share your amazing stories, experiences, and how you have adapted to a new culture. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.bb, and together we will travel the world.
God will not give you a job. God will not call you to do something and then not give you the capacity to have it.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
We have just 11 minutes to go to the hour of 8 o'clock. Would you believe it that this Saturday is the ultimate day for men? The ultimate day for men. And as I was asking Dr. Tonya just now, isn't there some study that focuses on men and boys and what's happening with the men and boys in the Caribbean? Now there's an event that's creating the ultimate day for men. So gentlemen, and you ladies can come too. This is your day. It's happening this Saturday at the University of the West Indies Cayfield campus. And I'm joined by the Minister in the Ministry of Health and Wellness in Davidson Ishmael. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning.
And with him is, next to him, Sharice Haynes, who is a co-founder of Roots Wellness. Leah Clark is also a co-founder. And Barry Ward is the administrative head at the Winston Scott Polyclinic. Am I right?
Yes.
Good. Welcome, all of you. Minister, I'll start with you.
Yes.
Why is it important from the Ministry of Health and Wellness to have this ultimate day for men?
Well, thank you so much. It's good to be here, and we appreciate the opportunity to be able to engage with you and, of course, the people of Barbados. The Ministry of Health has as its mandate to promote the health and wellness of the citizens of Barbados, to protect the citizens of Barbados in terms of their health and wellness. That means all citizens, young at heart, males, females. So within the strategic orientation of the ministry, we thought it would be necessary for us to be able to diversify the various groupings of our society and to be able to have events that will cater to those various groupings. Men, within the Barbadian context and even across the world, traditionally are persons who have what we called poor health-seeking behaviors. In other words, they're not the ones who would naturally gravitate towards a clinic, regular checkups, etc., etc. But outside of that, we've sought to engage men along different spheres, not only on the health side, but across general wellness and even community. So we thought that it would be good for us to be able to have a conversation with men, a day for men, an activity where we incorporate men and allow them to be able to express themselves freely, a space where they can lime, where they can socialize, where they can connect, where they can embrace culture, embrace health as well, and also embrace the opportunity to be able to relax and to rejuvenate as men.
And I think that's important. You're right. The ladies and the girls tend to share, hey, I'm having a pain in my breast and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Men don't do that unless they're discussing the bodybuilding. That's when they begin to share on their health generally.
That's right.
So this ultimate day opens up the space for men to feel confident and comfortable.
Absolutely.
To say, here's what I'm experiencing.
Absolutely.
We had our first guest this morning, George Jones, who said, you know what, I recognize that my weight is shifting and I'm concerned about it. I will take the initiative to do so. And through this initiative, I suppose you're hoping that men eventually will take that initiative to seek care, to seek health, to seek understanding, to seek information, because prevention is always better than cure.
Yeah, in a very comfortable environment, because this is what we call it the lion's lane. It allows persons to understand that there is a social aspect to healthcare that we don't often focus on. Usually when persons think of healthcare, it's very clinical. You're always thinking about, somebody in a state of illness, being unwell. But really and truly, we're also a ministry that is about prevention. The old adage that we have in Barbados and across the world is prevention is better than cure. So we want men to understand that even within a social environment, a social setting, where we're having fun, we're playing sports, and you'll hear more about the different activities on the day, that we can also take care of our health.
Indeed so. And we're seeing rising numbers of men presenting with colon cancer and other men's issues as well, prostate. And so Barry, I'll come to you, because as a man who is at the Winston Scott Polyclinic, what are you seeing in terms of the numbers of men showing up for care, one, and the concern that you have from where you sit about men not showing up for care?
Right. So Pearson, so we have these challenges in general across the system, where we tend to have men come late. They usually come on behest of their wives. So it's usually good to be married.
Well, then we can't solve it anymore.
But then, so what happens to the guys who are not married? So you have those challenges. So men tend to come late in the course of their illness. They come as a result of something else. So they come because the back is hurting them, they can't get to work, they're having challenges, and then while they're there, they're diagnosed with high blood pressure or diabetes, and usually, as I said, that's usually later in the course, is not initial, and therefore you already have to start with medication, you already have to look for complications and so forth. So that is a challenge.
Indeed, so the challenges are real, but we can fix this ultimately on this day, on Saturday, as a matter of fact. And so talk to me, Shireen, about what's planned for Saturday.
We have a vast array of activities that we're going to be bringing to the men of Barbados, from health checks, which you've all covered, and that's along the lines of the colon checks, blood pressure, cholesterol, but there are so many other things that are going to be really exciting for them to be part of. So we have things like lots of entertainers. We have Right Side of Bread that's going to be joining. We have Mikey that's going to be joining. We also have different education and informational booths that are going to be there. We have the Barbados Police Force are going to be sharing about careers that you can have. We also have the National Financial Literacy Program, and you can have one-to-one clinics and talk about budgets and financing and things like that. So there's lots of information that will be there. There are also various sports, the typical road tennis and cricket and football and basketball, but we're also going to have alternative sports like jiu-jitsu, and just lots of exciting things for people to participate in, as well as vendors for people to purchase things that are there. That there's going to be men's businesses, and other youngsters are coming as well. So there's lots of things that are going on that will be really exciting.
Leah, this sounds like a big day, a big set of activities as well. So you want all the men and the boys and the family, make it a family occasion. So tell me where it is and the times and why we should really come out in large numbers to engage.
Absolutely. It's going to be at the University of the West Indies, Cave Hill campus, from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. So we'll be there all day. People can cycle through. We'll have lots of sports, as Shireen said, including basketball, football, road tennis. We'll also have games like dominoes, worry, potter. So there will be many challenges, many competitions for men to engage in, and there will also be free massages, free manis and pedis, free haircuts.
We like the word free. Those words sound real good to our ears. So free, but take a look at your screen, those of you watching. I know a number of you listen as you go, but watch and you will see that it's totally free. And when you come, you're engaging in a day of fun and grooming and self-care and information and just access for all men in Barbados. But we want this to be a family occasion. Bring the boys, because boys need to be also groomed in this kind of way, a very positive way, in taking greater care and thinking more so of their own health as they grow and nurture as well. But parents, you need to show up. Mothers and uncles and aunts and everyone else, show up. It's totally free from 11 o'clock on Saturday on the grounds of the UWI, and you can find it very easy. You'll see where everybody else is. So that's exactly where you go on Saturday to be there. But it's a whole day.
Yeah.
You spend the time. You don't have to go anywhere else for lunch because food is also going to be on sale right there.
Sure.
And there are other stalls that offer you the manicures and the pedicures. It's a day of relaxation for care of self. And you recognize, Minister, that in taking all of this, we reduce the cost of healthcare.
Absolutely.
And we find ourselves with a far more able and productive society. And as we age, we are in a better state of health, and that's important.
And we're encouraging every man to take this as an opportunity to have a conversation relative to health that is a simpler one.
Yeah.
This is not a conversation within a clinical environment. This is not where you're going to the doctor, as Barry would have said. As Dr. Ward would have said, I should say, where you're being presented with negative information. This is really where you get to come and have fun. You get to have fun. You get to relax. You get to engage with various services. Take care of yourself. Some men out there have never had a manicure before. So this is an opportunity for all men to come out. So I'm encouraging men's groups. I'm encouraging men's fellowships of churches. I'm encouraging every single person who knows a man to encourage them to come down to UE on Saturday so that they can be a part of this activity. We've spread it over several hours so that if you have activities in the morning that you want to take care of, you can come in the afternoon. You have more than enough time during the course of the day. We want to invite all Barbadian men to come out and to just be a part of this conversation and this exercise.
Movement is important indeed, so you can play all the games as a boy you used to play, or as a boy you can play the games that you still love to play. All of that you can have happen indeed, but movement of the body is critical because it's all for your health and wellness. That's what we're talking about. But I really want to commend each of you, the ministry and the organizers as well, for doing this initiative, the ultimate day for men. I think it's long in coming, and I'm really, really happy that the day has come in my lifetime.
We're looking forward to seeing you.
No, I'm serious. So the University of the West Indies is where we shall all be gentlemen and ladies as well. You can come along. It's okay. We'll engage with you for the ultimate day for men, sports and games, grooming and vibes, everything happening right there. But we're having fun, but we're engaging in a fun way in understanding our health and having opportunities to have that network. You can imagine two fellas walking off somewhere just having conversation about prostate care.
Yes.
Nobody knows, nobody cares. It's just you in your moment having your conversation with a healthcare provider so you have better understanding. That's the safe space that's being provided for you this Saturday indeed. So I encourage all of you to show up in your great numbers. Thanks again for coming, each of you.
Thank you for
so
having us.
much
You're
for
very
having
welcome
us.
indeed. And as the clock tells me, I think that's it for today. My little crew joins me in saying to all of you, have a wonderful Wednesday. Be it the will of the Lord. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning. Good morning, Barbados. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Morning, Barbados. Good morning. Good morning to you.